So here we're going to take a look at our demonstration hands from planning the play in a suit contract and look at how we can make more tricks. Now in a suit contract, similar to no trumps, we still look at our goal, but then what we do is we count our losers. So this is going to be how many tricks in each suit that we're going to lose. Now the key part about this is you need to have an anchor hand. So this should be the hand which has the most trumps in it. And what we say is that the number of cards in a suit that you can lose is defined by how many of that suit are in the anchor hand. So if the anchor hand only has 2 cards, you can only lose 2 cards in that suit because then the anchor hand will be able to trump. If both hands have the same amount of trumps, then you can choose whichever hand you like as the anchor hand. Normally it's easiest to call your own hand the anchor hand, but the best thing technically would be if one of the hands has another long suit, so another 5-card suit, that should be the anchor hand. Now we have a look at our losers, then we consider how we can get rid of losers. And our 3 ways, the best one is discarding. So this is if the non-anchor hand has extra winners. Then we look at if we can trump anything in the non-anchor hand, and then we have a look at if we can do any finessing. Then what we want to consider is entries. So this is, do I need to be in one particular hand to carry out one of my tasks? Last of all, we want to come up with that 1-sentence plan. What am I going to do? So let's get straight into it. So here we are, we're in 2 hearts by south, and we want to start to make our plan. How many losers do I have? First of all, the anchor hand's going to be south because it has 5 trumps and our north player only has 4. So in spades, we're going to lose to the ace, the king, and the queen. We've got 3 in north as well, so we have to lose to the ace, the king, and the queen. In hearts, we don't have any losers at all. We've got all the top ones, which is great. Now in diamonds, we count this as 2 diamond losers. Now remember, this is because south is the anchor hand, so we can only lose as many diamonds as south has. If north was the anchor hand, we'd say that we'd have 4 diamond losers because we don't have any winners there. Now in our club suit, here we actually have 1 loser. So we've got the ace, we can use the king from the non-anchor hand, and that'll take care of the 2. But then we need to lose the 3. So we'd have 1 loser in clubs. So here we've got 3 losers in spades, 2 losers in diamonds, and 1 loser in clubs, for a total of 6. In our 2-heart contract, we can only afford 5 losers. So we have to lose one of our losers. And a good way of thinking about which one can I do something about is what are the immediate losers and what are the non-immediate losers. So here we know the opponents have to take the ace, king, queen of spades and also the ace, king of diamonds, and they can do that before we ever get the lead. So they're immediate losers. On the other hand, our club loser isn't an immediate loser. We can win the club, so they can't take their club tricks straight away. Now it's normally the non-immediate losers that you want to do something about. So if we have a look at discards, our non-anchor hand doesn't have any extra winners for us, so we can't do that. Trumping, we might actually be able to trump our club loser. So once the non-anchor hand is run out of clubs, we could actually trump one. So that's a good way of getting rid of this one, and we don't have any finesses available. So my plan on this one is that at some stage I want to trump a club. I'm not too worried about entries, but I know I'll need to play a club from the south hand to be able to trump it in north. Do I need to draw trumps first, or do I go about my work? That's another critical thing. And the way that you work that out, normally it's if you need to trump something. So here I need to trump something. So I know I want to trump 1 club. It'll mean that I always need 1 heart in the dummy so that I can trump my club. Because I've got a 9-card fit, I'm not too worried at all here. So I can draw trumps. So I'll lose my spades, and after they've taken 3, my opponent now switches to the diamonds. And straight away the opponents take their diamond tricks. And they play another one. So now at this stage I can trump in, and I had no reason not to draw the trumps out. I only need one of the hearts in dummy to ruff one of my clubs. So what I want to do is have a look at how they break, and it's important at the start of a trump hand to count down from the number of trumps the opponents had. So what I would have done at the very first play is know that I have 9 hearts, the opponents have 4. Each time they play, I want to count down from 4 rather than trying to count up in terms of the number of rounds that we've played. So now they've only got 3 left. Now they've only got 2 left. Now they've only got 1. And now they have no trumps left. So I know that the hearts are cleared. My opponents can't trump anything. And what I could do is I could now start to work on trumping my club. So I could get in, cross back over, and then I could trump my club to make my contract. Now this was a very nice hand because we did start off with a 9-card fit, so we had quite a lot of trumps. If we had less trumps, I might have had to consider, can I afford to draw trumps first, or do I need to do my work before drawing trumps? And an example of this would be if partner only had 3 trumps, and I'll go right back to the start. So if our non-anchor hand only had 3 trumps here, forgetting that they've got 4, if they only had 3, I still know that I have to trump a club. But my problem, if they only had 3 trumps, it would mean that the opponents had 5, and that would normally take 3 rounds of trumps to draw out all of the opponent's trumps so that they had none. Now, if this was the case, I couldn't actually draw trumps first, or at least all of the trumps, because remember, I want to trump my club, and to trump my club, I need 1 trump in the dummy. So I wouldn't have been able to draw all the trumps before I did my ruffing, and we'll have a look at sort of how that works for another hand. So let's look at the next one. Alright, so this time we're going to be in a 4-heart contract, and we get the King of Spades lead. So what's my goal? I want to have at most 3 losers, or I want to get to 10 tricks, and now we count our losers. So in spades, I'm going to lose 2 tricks, and our anchor hand's also south. So I'm going to lose 2 tricks in spades. I've got the ace, but then I need to lose to the queen and the jack, or the king and the queen. I've got 1 loser in hearts because I'm missing the ace. I've got no losers in diamonds because I've got the 3-2 in the anchor hand, but the ace-king takes care of those. And I've got 1 loser in clubs because I'm missing the ace of clubs. So at this stage, I need to think about how many losers I've got and what I can do to reduce my losers. So here I've got 2 losers in spades, 1 in hearts, and 1 in clubs for a total of 4. I can only afford to lose 3 tricks in my contract. And I need to start thinking about which losers I can do something about. Now I can't do anything about the ace of trumps, and I can't do anything about the ace of clubs. What it's going to mean is that I have to do something about one of my spade losers, basically. So here I've got the problem of, do I need to draw trumps first, or can I sort of do some work? Now, in terms of the work that we've got, one thing that I've got that's really good is I've got the Queen of Diamonds in North, or the Ace King Queen, but I've only got 2 diamonds in South. What this means is the non-anchor hand has an extra winner, and they're great for discarding losers. So extra winners, they'll cancel out losers. Now, in terms of thinking about what losers could be cancelled out by this Queen of Clubs, if I played my Queen of Diamonds, if I played my Queen of Diamonds and I discarded a club, I'm not actually getting rid of any losers because I still have to lose the Ace of Clubs. On the other hand, if on the Queen of Diamonds I could discard a spade, I'd actually be getting rid of a loser because I'd only have the 1 spade trick to lose. So ideally, what I'm hoping is that my Queen of Diamonds is going to cancel out a spade loser, because on the 3rd round of diamonds, I could discard this one on the Queen of Diamonds. Now the question is, do I need to draw trumps first, or do I need to do my work? And on this one, I need to actually do my work before I draw trumps. Now the reason for that is that once they've knocked out my ace of spades, I now have 2 immediate spade losers. If the opponent's got the lead with the ace of hearts at this stage, they could win the ace of hearts, They could win the ace of clubs and they could win 2 spades, and I'd go down in my contract. So this wouldn't be a very nice position. On the other hand, what I could try to do is I could try to do my work before I draw trumps. It's a little bit risky because my opponents might rough in, but I'm going to give it a go. So what I could do now is I could play my diamonds, and I'm hoping that each player has 3 diamonds. And what will happen is on the 3rd diamond, I can now discard my spade, and I've gotten rid of a spade loser. Once I've done that, I could turn around and now start drawing out the trumps. I'd be in a great position because the opponents can only win 1 spade trick, and then I'm going to be able to trump. If on the other hand I didn't discard my spade, if I actually just started drawing trumps when I won the ace of spades, I'd be in a very bad position here, because have a look at what happens. So we had the lead of the king of spades, and we've won that, and now we've started to draw trumps. At this stage, the opponents could win, and it's kind of become a race situation similar to no trumps. They could win, and now they will have won the race because they get to win their 2 spade tricks because I haven't actually been able to discard it. And they'll still get to win their ace of clubs, and I'll now go down in my contract. So based on the hand, because I didn't have the ace of trumps, I couldn't have actually drawn the trumps first. I had to do my work before I drew trumps. Now, one thing that could actually change things in the hand completely is what the lead was, what the opening lead was. Now, when they led the king of spades, they're going to knock out my ace of spades or my stopper in spades straight away. On the other hand, I could play this hand differently if I actually got a diamond lead or a club lead or even a heart lead. Now, the reason for this is that my spade losers wouldn't immediately be set up for the opponents. So it all changes potentially based on the lead. If they had led a diamond, a heart, or a club, I'm in a much better position because I could afford to draw trumps. Now, the reason for this is when they win the ace of hearts at this stage, they don't actually have 2 spade winners set up for themselves. I still have my ace of spades intact. So I'd be much better off on any other lead than the king of spades. The king of spades knocks out my stopper straight away, and it sets up 2 immediate losers. If they don't actually set up my immediate losers straight away, what I can do is I can afford to draw the trumps first. So the lead of a hand can completely change how you play it. And this is why it's important to think about what are going to be my immediate losers and which ones might, or do I still have a stopper in, but I might have to lose later. Okay, on to our next one. And again, another 4 heart contract. And this one's really going to illustrate what happens in terms of doing the work first or drawing trumps. Now, here we get the king of spades lead against our 4 heart contract. Our south player is going to be the anchor hand because it's got the maximum number of trumps, or the most trumps. So here in the anchor hand, if we count spades, we've got 3 spade losers because we've got the ace, but we don't have, our partner doesn't have the king or the queen or anything, so we have to lose the 4, the 3, and the 2. In hearts, we have 2 losers. We have to lose to the ace and the king. In diamonds, we have no losers, and in clubs, we have no losers because we have the ace, but then the non-anchor hand has the king. So we have a total of 5 losers. As it so happens in 4 hearts, we can only afford to lose 3 of them. So we've got a fair bit of work to do. Now, in terms of our options, do we have any discards? No, we don't, because our north player would need some extra winners. Do we have some trumping that we could do? And also don't forget, which losers can I do something about? You can't do anything about the ace king of hearts, so you have to be thinking about those spades. And we can actually trump the spades over in the north hand. But the key part is the number of things that you want to trump have to be the number of trumps in that particular hand. So if we want to trump 3 spades, we need 3 hearts in the north hand. So can I afford to draw trumps first, or do I have to do the roughing? And here, because of the fact that I've got only 3 trumps, but I want to trump 3 things, I can't afford to draw trumps first. I must do my work. If I were to draw out the trumps, we'll have a look at what happens. So I draw out the trumps. Oops. They'd play something else back, but say the trumps got drawn out. I'd now be in this position where I've got 3 losing spades, but I only have 1 heart to do trumping in the north hand, and I'd end up losing these 2 spades later on in the hand because I have no way to trump them or get rid of them. If at trick 1, what I did rather than drawing trumps, because I know I've got 3 spades I want to trump, and that means I need 3 hearts in the north hand, if I had won the ace of spades straight away and started to do my work, I'd be in a much better position because I can trump my first spade. Then what I could do is I could come back across to my ace of clubs and I could trump another spade. Here what I'm doing is I'm taking my trumps separately. So the 8, the 8, the 7 and the 6 or whatever it was, they're actually being able to be taken separately rather than playing hearts on top of hearts. Could then come back across to hand one more time and again trump my last spade. And at this stage the contract looks a lot nicer. All I have to lose is I have to lose that ace and that king of hearts, and I'll end up making my contract. So the key part here is that because I had 3 things to trump and I only had 3 trumps in the dummy, I must use all those trumps to do roughing. For that reason, I can't afford to draw trumps first. I must do my work before I draw trumps. A good hint for this one is if the non-anchor hand, or what's normally the dummy, has a singleton or a void, you almost always want to do trumping or roughing before you draw out the opponent's trumps. You've normally got to do your work before you draw trumps. Okay, on to our last one. So here again we're going to be in a 4-heart contract by South, and our opponents are going to get off to the Queen of Spades lead. Now here our goal, we only want to lose 3 tricks at most, so we want to count our losers. In spades we're going to have 1 spade loser. Our anchor hand again is South, so we've got the ace king, but then we have to lose 1. We've got 2 losers in our heart suit, and we've got 1 loser in our diamond suit. And this is a really tricky hand, this one. So I've got 4 losers. I can only afford to have 3 losers to make my contract. Now I won't be able to do anything about the ace of hearts or the ace of diamonds. It means that I've got to find a way to get rid of my 2 of spades. How can I do that? Do I have any discarding? I don't have any discarding at the moment, but I might be able to set up some discarding. And the reason for this is that with our diamond suit, once the ace is gone, what's going to happen is that North's going to have 2 diamond winners, but I'd only have 1 diamond in my hand. So I don't have a discard yet, but I might be able to set up a discard. Do I have any trumping that I can do? I'll never be able to trump my 2 of spades because I've got 3 spades in the non-anchor hand, so that won't work. You always need the non-anchor hand to have less in the suit if you're going to trump. Do I have any finessing available? No, I don't. So ideally what I'm going to want to do is eventually be able to play this 2 of spades on the winning diamond in the north hand. So will I be able to draw trumps first, or do I need to do my work? And this one kind of comes down to a race situation. If I draw trumps, I'm going to have a problem that they get in, and then they're going to set up immediate spade losers for me. So I get in, I draw a trump, and now I've got the problem that they get in and they can actually win their spades. So at this stage, the opponents could win their spade, and I'd end up going down in my contract. So this wouldn't be great. So here, I can't draw trumps, or they will be able to set up a spade loser for me. Remember, I had to get rid of that 2 of spades, not lose it. So what I could do is I could actually do my work first before I drew trumps, and I'd be in a much better position. So if on the first lead of the spade, so we had the Queen of Spades lead and we win it, if we start doing our work now to set up our diamond, we'll actually win the race. So I can come out the king, then play another one if they hold up, and the opponents have won the ace, but now I get to win the race. The reason for that is if they come out a spade at this stage, I can win in my hand, and this is another situation where we can overtake our honours. In our club suit, we've got 3 clubs in each hand, but we have the top 4 clubs. It means that I can afford to play an honour on top of an honour. So I could win the ace of clubs, and at this stage, take my discard. So get rid of my spade on the queen of diamonds. And it looks a lot prettier at this stage. I can now play out my hearts, and I know even if the opponents get in, they won't be able to win any spade tricks because now I can trump them. So even as it so happens they get trumped, but I can over trump them. And this is a much nicer spot to be in. Now this was a really tricky hand because we had to make that plan right at trick 1 to know that we couldn't afford to draw trumps, that we actually needed to set up a discard. So here we were at trick 1, we know we have to lose a spade, we have to lose 2 hearts, and we have to lose a diamond. But the only loser that we can do something about is our spade. With our ace king of hearts and our ace of diamonds, nothing we can do. It's got to be how can I get rid of that spade. The next thing we wanted to do is I have to set up my diamonds so the diamond can be used as a discard, but then we need to consider, do I need to draw trumps first or do I need to do my work? On this one it kind of becomes like no trumps because it became like a race. If we play out our hearts first, our opponents win the race because they get to knock out our 2 stoppers before we can get our discard. So we can't draw trumps here, we have to do our work first or it doesn't end up too nicely. So in a suit contract, they're pretty tricky, but you've got to go through this process. What's my goal? What are my losers? Which losers do I have to lose? And which might I be able to do something about? Then we consider our options. Do we have discarding? Do we have trumping? And do we have finessing? Which ones of those do you want to use? And then things like, do I need to draw trumps first or do I do my work first? Then also entries are a consideration. Then we want to make our plan and execute it. Now doing this process will take a lot of time to perfect. It's not something that comes naturally, and at first it will take a lot of time. It's a great thing that you can do, practice it at home, and you will become better at it over time.